how's it going? Sociopathic Otter here with some more Kirby Nightmare in Dreamland. This should be a fun one. That's the downside of burning, that if you time it poorly and use it incorrectly, it ends up not actually working out too well. But that's okay. We made it through the location, which is all that's important. I got to show off burning once, which is cool. And I am finding it hard to get through these slopes. There we go. That looks better. Okay. Get through there. Excellent. Grab that maximum tomato. Back up to full. And we can get through this room. Goodness gracious. I'm not usually... Ooh, nice. I really like those lollipops. I'm not usually a fan of vertical levels in this game. Apparently, I'm not a fan of horizontal levels in this game either. Goodness gracious. Okay, I like how they take the candy away, like, okay, clearly you can't be trusted with this. So this water is interesting because it actually pushes you one way. It's not like the calm, still waters that we've seen before. But that's okay, because you can still platform through it, no problem. Okay, I don't really understand what the point of keeping... Oh, I'm starting to understand it now. So if you're quick enough, you can get all those benefits. I was just going to say I don't really understand why all those power-ups are stacked up like that, but I can see why. Kind of rewarding players with good reflexes. Okay, wonderful. So if I could get through this room without being assaulted by birds, that would be nice. Okay, I'm entirely unsure what that power-up is supposed to do. But that's okay. So let's make my way past these piggies here. I was gonna swallow away. I was pressing V. Oh my goodness. Well, that's okay. There's only so much you can do. Can I swallow them through this wall? There we go. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. I learned that from Frasier. The show, not the man. The man is wonderfully hypocritical. Great. I was kind of concentrating for that segment because I was like, goodness gracious. I hate this bubble aesthetic this room has going on. And I need to focus so I can get out of it. Okay. Nice use of the star hitbox there. And hopefully this will work. Okay, nice. I'm actually really lucky to have the parasol weaponry here, because now I can actually hit the block and not have to slide past it, so I don't have to endanger myself and go under the spiky looking stop sign anymore. And that's that room. Cool. Oh right, I remember playing through this room. This is nice. So you actually climb up all the way through here, and then you hit this switch in case you want a 1-up. Which 1-ups are always welcome for me. And then if you come over here, let's just hit that. There we go. And get hit by the spiky stop sign, I guess. There we go. That was useless. I don't know why I did that. But anyway, if you come through here, that leads you to the end. For some reason, I thought there was a 1-up there. Maybe I just missed it, but that's okay. If I die, I can always game over again. Yeah, this game is less about not getting the game over and more about trying again after you get the game over. And it's about laughing along the way, I think. That may not, strictly speaking, be true. Hey, what happens if I swallow these guys? Oh, I get an ability. Okay, I thought it would just hurt me and take away 1 HP, which is pretty funny. Oh, goodness gracious. I love the facial expressions that Kirby makes. Oh, goodness. Okay. So, is he going to spin out little wheels? Oh, he is. That's cute. I think that kind of defies the laws of physics, but it's cute. I really like his boss's attack patterns. Very straightforward, very to the point, very quick. And I'm out of here in a jiffy. Alright. Let's go through these ice shards here. I really don't like the ones pointing down, because that way lies certain death. Okay, I'm gonna complain about that one. So I was still in hit stun from the enemy hitting me, and then I just fell to my death. Okay. I'm thoroughly scared of the enemies now, so I'm just gonna go on the top of the screen, and if I get hit, I get hit. Well, that was the worst of both worlds. Very nice. Luckily, I now have the HP to actually use that attrition-based approach. So, whatever works, I guess. Okay, so turns out it was still in the air, it just wasn't... It wasn't necessarily on the screen. I don't like the way Kirby handles those hitbox detections, but whatever. Okay, wonderful. I thought that thing was totally gonna hit me in its orbit, but that's alright. Crash. Very nice. I'll need that for nothing in this level. Great. Oh man, that was pretty close to first place. I wonder where I'll need Crash next, actually. That might not be a very useful power-up here. Oh, just kidding. And this level is really nice, too. First of all, the music. Normally I only stay silent for one loop of the music, but I stayed silent for 2 loops there, because this retro Kirby music is really, really sweet. I'm especially digging the grayscale vibe. It's kind of like The Legend of Zelda, even though The Legend of Zelda isn't grayscale, because the use of less color actually makes it feel more imaginative, strangely enough. That might just be my preference for games like The Legend of Zelda, where your imagination is what rules supreme, more so than the actual game, but that's beyond me. Or the psychoanalysis is beyond me, that is. Kanto isn't my favorite region, but I would have to say from a little narrative perspective, Red and Blue are probably my favorite games. Any game that can kind of get you in the mindset of a 12-year-old Pokemon trainer and make your journey through Johto, that's the wrong region, make your journey through Kanto that worthwhile and that vivid, so that you really feel like you're in the Pokemon world and you're not just controlling an avatar made of pixels. I think that is a very powerful thing to accomplish in a game. Speaking of powerful things to accomplish in games, coconuts that blow up are pretty cool, but not as cool as the way Red and Blue, and Yellow to a certain extent, although Yellow is more about Ash because you get a Pikachu. Just the way that Red and Blue kind of facilitate... Goodness gracious, how do I make it through here? Okay, I'm done interrupting my thoughts. So, the way Red and Blue kind of start you off in this Kanto region, and your mom's like, yeah, honey, go on an adventure. And you get your starter Pokemon from Oak, and you just take off. And after that, you don't really look back. It's about experiencing the Kanto region and training your Pokemon, and generally experiencing the grayscale world, or Red or Blue if you're playing Game Boy Color Remake. It's an indescribable experience. Just having the freedom and the liberty to go wherever you want and do whatever you want. Have a very open world feel. That, to me, is that not the way you're supposed to go? Goodness gracious. That, to me, is really the essence of Pokemon. Alright, enough blathering on about Pokemon. Well, actually, just kidding. I'm going to continue blathering on, even though I'm going to kind of figure out where to go. I thought those were obstacles! They're in the background! Alright, goodness gracious. So questionable gameplay quirks aside, I think nowadays Pokemon has kind of lost what's made it great. And of course, you can scream Gen 1 or till your horse in the throat, right? And that may not necessarily be untrue. But I feel like the newer games, for example Sun and Moon, rely way too much on early game diction, and indeed in general, just story and plot. There's, I think, about half an hour of cutscenes before you actually get your first Pokemon, and you actually get to control your character, go around the world a little bit, get yourself set in the game. All this talk about how Red and Blue and Sun and Moon are kind of at a right angle in terms of how they express their stories and how they use the stories to immerse the player in the game really got me thinking about how that actually influences the early game. So, Red and Blue gets you started pretty much immediately. After about 10 minutes of initial lore, NPC addiction, and getting your starter Pokemon, you're off into the world. You're battling wild Pokemon, looking at trainers, and going through gyms. On the other hand, Sun and Moon takes quite a bit of time, I think roughly half an hour to 45 minutes, to get through the lore, the cutscenes, and all the tutorials that you can possibly think of before the player is open to explore Pokemon centers and traipse through the world at their own pace. Also, I feel like it's interesting how my appreciation for Red and Blue's more wonder-oriented exploration actually kind of bleeds into the visuals, because I feel like the Charizard on the screen here actually has a nicer and more pixel art pretty kind of vibe than does Incineroar here. I happen to have an appreciation for that kind of 8-bit art rather than things that are sleeker and more elegant in the modern day, but may not necessarily have that same kind of imagination and otherworldly features to them. Oh boy, here's Dedede. First, a moment of silence for the music. That's enough of a moment of silence. Although I do really like this because it's like a very slowed version of Fountain of Dreams. Oh goodness gracious. A slowed version of Fountain of Dreams from Kirby. Or not from Kirby. From Super Smash Bros. Melee. Okay. This is the attack where Dedede floats like a balloon. I fought Dedede like 10 times. I was taking notes on this character's like attack patterns and everything. I was crazy dedicated. Okay, here we go. I beat him on the first try. Admittedly, I did use a strategy where I hovered at the very top of the screen in such a way that Dedede's hammer actually can't damage you. The hitboxes are physically not attached, but nonetheless it still is an interesting exception here where the LP blessing rather than the LP curse actually dictates the actions that are on screen. I still don't understand this fight at all. I just kind of stand in one place, spam B, and hope that that's enough. See? Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't work. So, now that the Nightmare fight is well underway, and yeah, that's actually why the game is called A Nightmare in Dreamland rather than just Dreamland, I think that's, counterintuitively enough, actually a good place to stop for this episode. Because this fight actually has multiple segments to it, and I die in each and every segment, so I think that merits a part in and of itself. If you liked this part, maybe consider liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing, and all that standard jazz. I especially like comments because it's nice to discuss the nuances of Pokemon game design and interesting level mechanics in Nightmare in Dreamland, and whatever other topic comes to mind in any given video. So if you liked those aspects too, we can talk about it in the comments section, and of course all the other usual jazz that comes at the end of this video. That should be pretty much it, I think. Peace.